Live from New York. It's a show that's not going to do pantomime stuff.
You didn't have to do pantomime, buddy.
The question of the day, Brou, was basically...
Who's been the best team through 4 weeks?
Act ridiculous on command.
Didn't
from
say
Gianna,
that.
who does a great job. And I said I don't want to.
Convey who the best team through 4 weeks is without saying any words. We all had different ways we could have done it. Brou did a fly Eagles fly thing. I pointed at my tattoo. All you had to do was pull up one of your hundreds of Jalen Hurts tweets, and that would have done it.
I didn't want to do that.
You're just not a team player. You skipped our workouting last night.
I mean, come on.
You skipped it.
You skipped it?
He skipped it.
I didn't skip it.
Brou was funneling beers.
I had a previous engagement.
I did too.
What?
I'm not going to that stuff.
Home with the kids.
He's just not a team player. He's just not going.
First things first. Okay, again, to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I root for, please buy a tripod. It's the second time I've asked. Please, we'll send you one. Brou, your reaction to A.J. Brown's quote. Oh.
Bravo, A.J. Brown. Bravo, A.J. Brown. He owned it. I like the fact that he went there before the cameras and said, my bad. I was wrong. I was frustrated. I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. I've seen a lot of athletes and even people say, I have no regrets. like they've never done anything wrong, or I learned from it I got regrets. I've done things wrong. I think all of us have some regrets. Admit you did something wrong.
The way you treated Dusty earlier.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see after the show how Dusty, if he took it seriously. But no, I mean, he owned it, and I like that. Now, he may do it again because he's an emotional guy. You know, sometimes he wears his emotions on his sleeves. But his explanation was legitimate. Like, we are struggling. Mm-hmm. They are struggling. He wants the ball. I have no problem with that. And I understand his frustration even as they're winning. Like I think we all would agree is probably a top 5 receiver in the league, or certainly right in that discussion. Yep. He is 61st in the league in receptions right now. He is 70th in yards per catch, 66th in yards per game, and he's got 1 touchdown. And all of those outside of the touchdowns are on pace for career lows, maybe even touchdowns is. And he's 28 years old. He's right in the middle of his prime. And he wants to, when you have star ability, you want to be a star. I've said it before. If I'm Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson, I don't want to go somewhere and average 13 points as a role player and win a ring. I want to win a ring, but I want to also play up to my individual potential as a star. Now, if you're not a star, it's different. And AJ's already got a ring. I'm not saying it's all right to be selfish, but I do get where he's frustrated and wants to shine, especially when the offense isn't clicking.
I don't find this selfish. I would if their offense was prolific, or if they were blowing people out with a dominant defense, ball control style offense. Then I might understand it and find it selfish.
And say you don't need to say anything.
Right. But not only do I understand this, I don't find it selfish, and I agree with Brou. What I would have hated would if he would have been like, man, that tweet didn't have anything to do with the team. You know what I mean? Just lied. You know, which was. And I think the audience has maybe picked up on this from me. I like A.J. Brown. Obviously, he's a great player. I like his earnestness and honesty about who he is. I respect people who, even if who you are is not the, platonic ideal for teammate or whatever, you're like, I am who I am. I'm going to tell you right after the Super Bowl that the Super Bowl glow has already worn off. Like, I respect that part of him. And I think he is important for this Eagles team, not just because he's a great player, but Wilds, because he's right. Mm-hmm. What they are doing right now is not sustainable. So these offensive ranks where they are for this year is not sustainable.
Get back to the Super Bowl.
Correct. That's what I mean. It's not sustainable if they want to have a chance at repeating.
So just to dig into it, for our podcast listeners.
Yes, they're 7th in points and then 29th or 30th or 31st in total yards, passing yards, yards per rush, yards per play. They're dead even in the league, 16th in yards per game.
But oddly, 7th in points because they're so effective in the red zone.
But also they
if it was like, hey, a team is 7th in points, are they on the right track? You would say yes.
So
it's just the outlier
And they would be
of everything
9th,
else.
I think, without the special team.
Right. So the special team
that's
touchdowns
still-
helped them.
It's still top 10.
And
Yeah, it's still top 10.
the point that you led me right to, I think the point that I was going to make, which is I do not think they will stay 7th in
The
points.
you think are an aberration.
Yeah,
If they don't.
correct.
change.
If they don't
Gotcha.
change those other things. If I truly believed they could play this way and be 30th in a bunch of categories, but 7th in the only category that really matters, points scored, I'd be fine with it. I don't think they're going to bat 1,000 on the red zone this year, even if they're the best red zone team. Like that's not what they're going to be. And the other thing is those 2 of the last 4 halves of offensive football they've played have been the 2 worst passing halves any team has played in the league all year. And so look at the company that they keep on it. So the Eagles had negative 18 passing yards in the second half last week, negative 1 in the first half 2 weeks ago. The Bengals with Jake Browning, the Jets with a backup quarterback, I think, in that game. And it was either Tyrod or Fields, but I think that was the backup quarterback game. Doesn't matter. The Titans with a rookie, and the Cardinals with Kyler, but in the game they led, the entire second half, and they were really trying to run the ball. That can't happen. And here is where I will turn it a bit to you. You don't want, you being Kevin Wildes, the Jalen Hurts fan, and Eagles fans who are Jalen Hurts fans, Jalen Hurts to all of a sudden be on the Tim Tebow section of the chart, which is like the guy's I don't care that throws for no yards. The guy's a winner. He's tough. Like those.
No yards.
But but don't you? And maybe you just use that as a description. He's beyond.
Oh
Tim
no.
Tebow. Like, no way to compare
But
him
I'm
to
saying
Tim Tebow.
up to if Jalen Hurts' entire career was this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This year, it's like Tebow-ish in they win.
I mean, Tebow was.
No, but it was
those
about
first 3 quarters.
But I mean, the yards are about
completion
like this. No,
percentage,
and
all that
again,
stuff
I don't want to be misconstrued. I'm not comparing the players. What I'm saying is, you feel, and Eagles fans feel, I think, that we have a star quarterback. And if you have a star quarterback, this can't happen.
Yeah.
And so
it doesn't
AJ's
make
not
sense
wrong
what
about
they're
that.
doing.
No.
Like it really, and for Petula I wouldn't think it makes sense if he was coming in fresh, but to have been there for 5, 6 years, whatever it is, and to know these players, that it makes no sense the way they're running their offense to me.
So what do you think happens now with Surtain over there?
Well, that's interesting. I wasn't even thinking about the Surtain element.
Well, it's like, all right, the antidote.
You don't force it to him. You cannot force it to him.
Then you got to creatively force it to him.
No, you play your game. I think
I don't think
you try to throw the football more, and you play your game. That means some passes are going to go to AJ. You also have Devontae Smith over there, and some are going to go to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think you can go out of your way, especially like you said, if Surtain's on him, and try to force feed him the ball. I think it has to come within.
How much of fixing this is on Jalen? I
think it's more the play calling.
To have 0 completions?
Jalen threw some bad balls. Others, he was blanketed, and he still threw it to him. So I just think they're not getting, like you said, those intermediate passes.
We saw him talk to Petula on the sidelines, which
2 weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah, which felt a little bit like, I don't know, like heat of the moment type stuff, even though it was very a rational conversation. It's probably a better question for coach when we've seen, like you've seen Brady and Belichick sit down and like talk about a game plan very constructively. Peyton and Breeze have a whole thing where they're like sitting down, like nose in the binders. What is the relationship between Jalen Hurts, Sirianni, and Petula? Where is Jalen Hurts executing Petula's system, or is Petula building a system that works for Jalen
No, but
Hurts?
I guess that's not really my question. Maybe I phrased it wrong. My point is this. Do we think there is a game plan that could exist where if any of our other star quarterbacks in the league were dropped on the Eagles the last 2 weeks, they had negative passing yard halves? Or would those players be like, no? Like I am finding I'm finding a way to get my playmakers involved and get the ball in their hands. The zero completions, the negative, that's what I'm asking.
I get it now.
Like, and I think Jalen has enough cachet to, I'm not saying go rogue, but if it is all, the OC's just in over his skis.
Yeah, I'm switching the play and getting A.J. the Brown.
Yes, I mean, I am doing,
but not just to get A.J. the ball.
No, to get Devon, that's what I'm saying. To get,
Yeah,
even if
get
it's not
something
A.J.
going.
Brown, we can't have 0 yards at the half, can't be an improvement. And that's where we've been 2 of the last 4 halves. Like, that, and so I believe that Jalen has the ability to do that. Like, so I just find it, I find this very odd, and I don't blame A.J. Brown for sounding the alarm a bit.
I'm fine with it.
All right, Coach Prime, son mimes. Deion Sanders responded to the silent interview that Shedeur gave to reporters yesterday. Schefter says it was in response to Rex Ryan's criticism of Shedeur, telling him to be quiet. Deion posting 10 crying, laughing emojis and saying, good one, son, you did that. Brou, your reaction to Prime's reaction?
Is that just a parent's love? That's the only thing I can see that because obviously we all respect Prime as a parent and a father figure to Travis Hunter and some other guys. I also love the way he handles himself. I love that he boldly proclaims his faith in Jesus Christ, all that. But this is a misstep. Like that, there is no other way to look at this and think this was good, what Shedeur did. Like, in a vacuum, maybe, we said even yesterday, it could be funny, it was, okay. But the context is important. And the context here is that Shedeur Sanders is fighting for his football life. Like, whether you think, and I'm a guy that likes Shedeur and felt like he should have gone in the first round. But whether you think Shedeur is getting, blackballed, or whether you think the Browns just don't like him, or whatever you think, the fact is every team in the league passed on him multiple times. And the team he's on, he's third string.
And they just had an opportunity to bump him up to second, and they were like, no, we're not doing that.
And you also, here's the interesting thing, because if I was a reporter covering the Browns, and I'm guessing some of their reporters are, I would be going to players privately. Shedeur, how's he look? Should he be playing? Like, you have not seen any anonymous quotes coming from players like, man, Shedeur looks good. I don't know why he's not playing.
That's interesting.
Like, when your quarterback has thrown 6 interceptions in 4 games, when your defense is legit and you just simply can't win because you have no offense, there's no anonymous quotes like, man, I don't know what they're doing, because Shedeur looks good. I think Shedeur should get a shot. We haven't seen any of that. And we know players like Shedeur. And you still haven't seen it.
That's interesting.
So I'm just saying, as talented as I think he is, he apparently isn't ready.
Clearly.
And so what this does is make the other 31 teams and the Browns think Shedeur is immature or silly.
It was immature.
Yeah.
And it was silly.
It's not it's not going to endear him to anybody. And lastly, I'll say this, Nick. You said yesterday Shedeur's kind of misplayed the last 9 months, the draft process. So has Deion.
Yes.
Like, when Deion came out before the draft and was like, I'm going to, he's only going to certain teams. I'm going to make sure he goes to the right situation. I'm going to get involved with it, like, that obviously turns some teams off. And then supporting this, this is a misstep by Deion and Shedeur.
Yeah, I want to talk Deion, then I want to talk Shedeur. I echo what Brou said on the front end. I think I have so much respect for Deion Sanders, okay? I also think he is either giving Shedeur bad advice or, in this instance, I know, encouraging what I think is unproductive behavior. And I understand folks like Shedeur's a grown man. Guys, he's 23 years old. He is a grown man. He's almost old enough to rent a car without having to pay an extra fee. However, he's allowed to do what he wants. But Brou, I know your dad passed. a couple years ago. I'm 40 years old. I called my dad for advice Friday. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? My son's 27. He calls me all the time for advice. The idea that once you are old enough to legally drink, that you're like, you get no influence from any of your elders in your community, be it actual father or not, is not reality. And we're all always kind of growing and evolving and leaning on people. So I think I think Deion can't disassociate that his son is not the prospect that he was.
Yes.
And does not play the position that he did. You know what I mean? Because Deion, as great as he was, if he was a quarterback instead of cornerback, some of that stuff would have hurt him, but because he was so great in a different position. Now I want to talk about Shedeur doing this. Guys, do you realize how absurd it would be if Bo Nix spent part of a press conference getting even with me? Like, that's what happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that guy on TV has been unfair to me, and I'm going to show him. This is not, don't clip this, internet. I'm talking about for Shedeur. Rex Ryan is irrelevant for what Shedeur's trying to do. Like, I'm irrelevant for what Bo Nix is trying to do. It's not a shot at the network or him. It's an absurd use of your time. And what nobody seems to want to acknowledge because of the profile and what we thought the guy was going to be in the draft is right now the closest comp Shedeur has in sports to like how to maybe best conduct myself given the extra spotlight and my spot on the depth chart is Bronny James.
Yes.
You're a fifth-round pick. You're third string. You are fighting for your sports life. Can you imagine if Bronny was, and Bronny's got his own dad, there in theory to really protect him because he's on the team. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Bronny was one level college player. Shedeur was another. I understand that. But it's both guys with super famous dads who are celebrities that right now outpace their spot in their league, who are fringe roster guys.
Right.
And Bronny has done the exact opposite of all of this. You know what I mean? Now I understand.
Bronny is doing everything as it should be done.
And that isn't, and this is the last point I want to make. That is not like selling out who you are as a person. Like, you know what I mean? That is not like changing. Oh. You know what we all have the way we act at work and the way we act in our day-to-day lives. And usually, often, hopefully, they're very similar, but they're not identical. You can be as true to who you are as you want to be while also recognizing my job's at the moment demands certain things.
Yes.
And I just think it makes me, the Deion comment really, I was like, man, I think Shedeur could be in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, because if he did that and the response from the people he looks up to and trusts wasn't, buddy, you're hurting yourself. Instead it was, that was awesome. Right. Then why would he?
My hope is that when Deion spoke with him privately, he did say, look, you can't.
And he's just trying to publicly have his back?
That's my hope. I mean, I'm just, and publicly, because obviously you're going to support your kids. If my kids did something publicly that was, I might say if somebody interviewed me, I didn't agree with what they did, but.
Throw them under the bus.
Yeah, I wouldn't just go off on them, right? You know what I mean? Publicly, I would support them, but be like, I didn't think it was the best look. Yeah. But,
maybe like
and then privately, I'm talking
emojis.
more. I'm just hoping that was the case. And like you said, it's not selling out to be professional or do what you need to do at work. Unless you have your own football league that's gonna pay you millions of dollars, you need to do what your corporation or your job needs to be done for you to be in that position.
Literally perfect, Brou.
Yes.
About the scout team. No one ever gets asked about the scout team. Literally perfect response. And much like real football being a quarterback, this just felt like a devastating turnover.
Yes.
That this one quote, it's like, oh, I've been perfect the whole game, and this was a back-breaking turnover. So I hope he heads more towards the scout team quote than the silence.
Well, he seems, you said it yesterday, incredibly likable. Like in that quote, I mean, and I think when you look at what happened with the miming or whatever, I think it was a combination of immaturity, youth, and incredible confidence in yourself. Like, I think that's what kind of failed him, because I don't think he meant, he was trying to go at Rex. That's better than if he had just called out Rex Ryan and maybe cussed him out or something. Like Rex Ryan said, that was at least better than that, but it still wasn't good. But I think just youthful exuberance. He doesn't understand how bad that looked, but that's where your father comes in and says, yeah, that wasn't the best thing.
And again, I don't think it looked horrible.
No.
I think the problem is, and this is what is, it might be an unfairness, but it is a reality. When you have this level of spotlight on you and you don't have the ability to show your talents on the field, all you can do is make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because nobody, if we would have done a segment on, hey, what a great quote from Shedeur Sanders, everyone justifiably be like, why is that news?
Yep.
It's news that he is saying the right things.
Yep.
So the only time when you're not playing that your words are going to make news is if you make a mistake. And so I think he took all of that and was like, well, what if I have no words? But doing it in that way was also a mistake. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying this level of spotlight on a guy that's not playing is even reasonable. But it is reality. And it is your job as an adult to recognize, fair or not, the reality that you're in, I need to have the fewest missteps possible. Yep. And if you don't, to have the people closest to you to help you out and guide you on it. And that's the part of this that makes me sad for him.
Coach Mangini is here with us. Coach, welcome. We are talking about tonight's game, 49ers at Rams. Brock's toe still hurts. Might be serious here, Brou. Vic Tafura of The Athletic writing, Purdy isn't healthy enough to be the team's emergency backup in LA, which underscores that his sprained big toe was worse than it seemed coming out of Sunday's loss to the Jags, and that the 49ers are leery of it becoming a recurring issue this season. Is this team on the brink?
Well, look, they're still 3-1, which is great that they got out to that tough start. A couple of wins over division teams too, but it looks like he's going to miss a good chunk of the season, I would think. So I do think it's going to be awfully tough for them to make the playoffs. Like, if he's out, their whole receiving core, now they still have some names. You got MVS,
some guys can win Super Bowls with the 3 of their 5 receivers.
Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings are out this week. Obviously, Kittle's out. Obviously, Ayuk's out. Nick Bosa's out defensively. The defense was okay last week against Jacksonville. And the thing is the schedule. They got the Rams, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, which is, decent, and Houston. Those are their next 4 games. So I'll still give them a shot at the playoffs. Who knows when these guys are coming back? But I think they're in serious trouble.
You jumped off that quick.
Well,
Purdy
is,
Purdy's his guy.
I thought he could lead them, but
I don't think the Bengals feel bad that his toe hurts. I don't think the Ravens feel bad that his toe hurts. And this report does he know? Has he spoken to someone inside the organization, or he's just projecting that the guy played on Sunday, hurt his foot, and can't play on Thursday, so that means he's going to be out for an
I think it's more than
time?
that, Coach. It's that they put him out there too early. He was already injured, and they put him out when he wasn't yet ready to come back, and it got worse.
Okay, but I don't think that necessarily means this is season ending. The idea of going from Sunday to Thursday is hard for anybody with an injury, so to project that out that this is going to be a long, sustained injury, who knows? He was able to play those other games. And
let me ask you this, Coach, or all you guys. If they, like I mentioned, their next 4 teams, which are pretty good teams, and the division is good, the NFC West, could they get to a point where you're like, it's best to kind of not bring Brock back? If he's got to miss 7 games or whatever, and they're pretty much out of it by that point, and then even the other players that are injured, but even looking at a Christian McCaffrey, Like, do we?
Oh, I don't think
rest
you're going to
him
want to
and
run
not
Christian
run him
McCaffrey
into the ground when
It-
maybe we'll have a shot at being healthy
listen,
next
I
year?
don't. Here's that type of math would need to be done by a coaching staff and in part a medical staff that you trust. And the Niners running Brock Purdy out there last week, now that we have this added information, is beyond baffling.
Yeah.
The NFL does not spin a wheel Sunday night and be like, let's see who's playing this coming Thursday. They knew they were going to play Sunday, then Thursday. Brock was pushing to play, was clearly not healthy yet if you watched the game, and now he's missing this Thursday, and they're worried it got worse and he's going to miss more time. And Vic Tafur covers the team for The Athletic, so I do imagine, Coach, he has real sourcing on it. What a reasonable team, I believe, with a reasonable medical staff that isn't always leading the league in injuries, would say is, hey, we're 2-0 with Mac Jones. We are going to be playing on Thursday anyway. If we hold Brock out this week, 4 days ago, he gets 4 extra days. He can then play Thursday and then have 10 days before his next game. They didn't do that. And so that is to me, Coach.
But in fairness now, you're a football coach. You're not a doctor, and you rely on the people who.
Yeah, I don't put it on Shannon.
No,
I'm just saying you have a bunch of guys with the degrees, and you've got a trainer, and look, their injury history is problematic.
Yes.
And so that needs to be looked at, I think, from a bigger picture perspective. But when you're sitting there trying to make a decision, if the doctor says he's good, and the trainer says he's good, and the player says he's good, then he's good, and it's hard to overrule the doctor because you're just not in the position to do that. That's why you have those guys to help you guide through the process.
Did this emergency backup thing hit your radar because they had to elevate Adrian Gonzalez?
Martinez, I think.
Oh, okay. From he was our XFL star.
Was I might have the name wrong.
Okay.
So he's
right.
not able. He's not healthy enough to be the backup.
And now they have to. Now they can't elevate him anymore without signing him.
Exactly.
So then there's like contract issues too. Why not just if Brock is somewhat okay?
He's not somewhat okay.
Yeah, put him in a jersey.
Yeah, to me, it seems like he can't play on Thursday night no matter what in any capacity, and that happens. So you elevate this guy. Now you've got a block of time afterwards. You see where you are. I just don't know if maybe it is more serious than we think, but. And you're not the Bengals.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Here we go.
And everyone is saying doorstep of destiny is already being used for when Josh Allen and mini Josh Allen. It's almost like Şengün and Joker playing each other. That's Sunday night, national television.
So now Drake May is Şengün?
Hold on. Let him stay on.
Well,
Let him
just
stay
like
on
Baby
Mac
Joker.
Jones for a second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But this certainly feels very similar to a doorstep of destiny type game, where it's like, oh, who did Kyle Shanahan have his eye on in the draft? Went through some tough times. All of a sudden, you're undefeated. No one believes in you. It's a short week. You're 8.5-point underdogs. You've got a bunch of Chiefs cast-offs, DeMarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, MVS. You do have your old buddy from New England, Kendrick Bourne. No one thinks you can get it done.
Connection in New England.
They didn't. They actually were pretty good. No, they were actually pretty good. Yeah.
Wouldn't it bum you out if he went and lit it up?
No, he would love it. KW
Would I be bummed out?
It wouldn't bum him out.
We're on the doorstep of destiny, Coach.
Here's what I'm saying, though.
Jason.
So then you blew a first-round draft pick and you let him out the door and he actually can play?
But he thinks, but also he feels like
Drake's
it's a
good, too.
win-win. He's got Drake, if Mac Jones. Yeah, and listen,
This is a moment. This is a moment in NFL history if this happens.
It might be more than a moment.
Wow, even more.
No, I mean, if Brock is out, he gets a chance to
he gets a
resurrect
chance.
himself.
But now Patriots fans are like Jets fans. They're cheering for Sam Darnold and Geno Smith.
That's
now
okay.
They're cheering for Mac Jones.
Cheering for the Raiders because Brady's got a piece of the Raiders. Cheering for the Fox broadcast. We're all over the place. Okay, we are moving on to Texans, favored against a Lamarless Baltimore squad. Ravens trying to avoid a 1-4 start, Brou, which wouldn't doom the season. But since 1970, only 16 teams made the playoffs at 1-4. Jeff Schrebeck of The Athletic writing, Harbaugh must keep this team afloat until it presumably gets healthier following the bye week. If this tailspin continues, the offseason changes within the organization could be wide-reaching. Coach, you want to start here? You love these hot seat combos.
Well, what's it based off of? Well, because
it's right there. It could be wide-reaching.
Okay, so the guy hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt. So after 4 games where you're decimated from an injury perspective, now suddenly he can't coach. Suddenly he doesn't know how to run the organization. They've been pretty good for a long time. He's won a Super Bowl, but now they've got a 4-game stretch where it's not very good. So,
see, I don't think it's the 4-game stretch.
Let's have wide-ranging changes.
Go ahead, Brou.
I agree with Coach in that, and where I disagree with the article was he has to keep them afloat. Like, I'm not looking at that. I don't care if he keeps them afloat or not. To me, I do think Harbaugh should be on the hot seat, but it's nothing to do with staying afloat. It is if they go out. Now, look, let me first start here where I wouldn't think he should be on the hot seat. If Lamar misses the next several games, they already have these other injuries, and the season ends up being kind of a lost season because of injury, then I don't have a problem with Harbaugh staying. But if they go out like they have these last few years, Lamar gets healthy, they start rolling, make the playoffs, and then they go out kind of like they have when you're expecting them to win and they lose in the playoffs, because the things that have failed them in the playoffs are things you typically would look at the coaching staff for. A lot of penalties. They get a lot of penalties. Then stuff like lack of discipline, taunting penalties, unsportsmanlike penalties, forgetting kind of your game plan like they did against Kansas City a couple years ago, not running the football, bad play calling, which we've already seen this year. Like, that's the stuff that if that hurts them in a playoff game and they lose, that's when I'm looking at Harbaugh. Because, Coach, sometimes you just need a new voice. He's been there 18 years. Andy Reid got fired after 14 years. Belichick essentially got fired. Like, you can get fired even as you're a good coach.
Came early. Like that, the Super Bowl.
He was in trouble before he got Lamar.
He was in trouble. A lot of people think the reason they switched from Flacco to Lamar was because they needed a spark and it had been a long enough time. We can show you his, the first 7 years versus last 10 years, and that's not including this season. It's that years with a playoff win that jumps out at you. 6 of his first 7 years, they won a playoff game. 3 of the last decade, they've won a playoff game. We're talking about if that continues. Here is what I think is fair, Coach. Oh, go ahead. Go.
Well, so the Andy Reid decision, that was a plus decision for Philly. They're like, well, we really nailed that one.
It has been.
Andy went up to Kansas City and won back-to-back Super Bowls and drafted the next generational talent at quarterback.
They got two
but
Super
new
Bowls.
voice. Yeah, Philly's got 2 Super Bowls. It's a new voice.
They've been on 3 coaches.
It's
since
just don't you think sometimes
coaches?
Yeah.
Don't you think sometimes you need a new voice? Even it's not saying Harbaugh's not a good coach. I think he would get another job if he wants it in the league.
No, I just think that Andy Reid is a really good. Maybe it's not apples to apples, but it's not like Andy Reid was washed up. He went out and lit it up in Kansas.
But they were struggling those last years.
I'm glad you brought up Andy Reid, because here is the deal, guys. If you have one of the contemporary Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, you're always on the hot seat.
Yes.
Reid, Harbaugh, McDermott, Taylor. They must perform every single year. And because the Chiefs' success has prevented those other guys, except for Taylor, from ever even being like, we got to a Super Bowl, you don't have, every year feels like it ends in disappointment. Yeah. Every year you have Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes that you don't end up in the Super Bowl, you feel like you came up short. And since Patrick Mahomes tends to go to every Super Bowl, we go into the year like McDermott's on the hot seat. Harbaugh, and the other piece of it is because, my opinion, there is so much protectionism of Lamar It can't be, well, we're coming up short because in the playoffs, we don't have a Mount Rushmore quarterback.
But
in the playoffs, we have just a guy.
Right.
And so then the scrutiny goes on Harbaugh even more so.
You're not getting rid of Lamar.
No,
Derrick Henry,
obviously.
so
We're not. But can you also give him credit for taking Lamar when most of the league said
100%.
hard pass?
That's a long time ago, though, now.
I understand.
And he
that.
has helped
But
develop
he's-
Lamar.
yeah,
I will give you that.
So then he had Greg Roman there, who fit really well with Lamar's skill set coming out of college, giving him time and them time to win games and develop Lamar as a passer. There's got to be some value in that.
100%.
And I know we're looking at where he is now and then discrediting all the other things that come to it because we're on a little bit of a skid. I just think you got to look at the body of work.
I don't think it's the 1-3, just coach. I think Ravens fans went into this year feeling like we could have won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. We came, had a home AFC title game, didn't play well. Last year, we had historically great health. We couldn't even get back to the AFC title game. I think there was pressure going into this season, and now that it's gone this way, and he seems to be feeling it a bit with that press conference really putting a lot at Todd Monken's feet. So I don't think it's unfair.
They lost in the playoffs to a team they had beaten by 25 points. I'm
Didn't
just
one of
saying.
their best players drop a pass that was in his hands?
Yeah, but I would
closer?
argue, should it have been that close?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.